another loud background, obnoxious driving video for September 16th. It's a Saturday, 2023. It's approximately noontime on the Pacific Coast. I just got out of New Mexico. I'm in Arizona. I have no cell data. I have no radio. I have no GPS. I have a sat nav in my trunk that I could get if I need, but I'm currently just following my compass north and I'm heading to the Grand Canyon. So the closer I get, I'm hoping that I'll get service. But I'm just driving here and I figured that I'd see if I can think about making any other videos, and I had some ideas, and one was going back to how different people can experience different things and different chemical reactions in their body. So knowing thyself and practicing stoicism is a personal event that you have to learn about yourself. A country song came on, and I'm sorry for the vibration. Let me see if I can. My camera might shut off from the heat, but it'll be on rubber here, and it'll be a little bit less noisy and bouncy than it is there. These roads are pretty well maintained for being in the middle of nowhere, but not very well maintained in the scheme of things. I'm just in backwoods cattle country, South Arizona. I'm still waiting to see a caribou or an elk. I see the signs everywhere, and I'm starting to turn into Don Quixote every time I see like branches, dead branches in the ground, turning it into a caribou in my mind. But again, sorry about the noise. I can tell that this just the way the road is here. It's loud not to film, so it's got to be loud filming. I was listening to radio in the remake country song. I don't know the guy's name, but there's a remake of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. It's a song from my adolescence. Tracy Chapman was a pop singer, but she had a smash hit with the acoustic I Have a Fast Car. For those of you who don't know the story, it's kind of a coming of age story, but you can translate the lyrics into whichever age group you want. It's a couple, talking about a couple and how tough their life is where they're at, and how they feel caged. And I mean, Tracy Chapman, I believe, I don't know what she identifies as now, but I believe she was a lesbian. So the song could have been about her and her female partner not being able to be themselves where they were and how tough their life are. She sings about like having to take care of her alcoholic father and then saying, let's just leave here. You have a fast car, I have a fast car, or whatever, and we could just go somewhere and get out of here really quickly. And it gets remade. So whenever I hear this song and this remake, it puts me in a very melancholy, I wouldn't say necessarily sad, but melancholy chemical releases to my body. And I think to myself, why do people enjoy this song so much? It kind of makes me sad. I want to shut it off. Like it brings me down. Most of the day I'm up, and then when I hear something like that, I'm down. So as part of knowing thyself, I started saying, what is it about this song that brings me down? And so it's such a popular song. It was #1 on the charts for so long that people enjoy it. So I was thinking back. I was born in California. the age of 3, they moved me to Massachusetts. At the age of, like, when I was in like 4th grade, whatever age that is, they moved me in Massachusetts still to another location. And I had a home base there in Massachusetts, made friends, grew up, kids I knew since the 4th grade, still know. And I had lived in other places like Newport, Rhode Island, and Boston for a short period of time, but I always had come back to this home base. And then a couple years ago, I was just like, there is nothing here for me. I'm just realizing that I'm just here out of a weird loyalty, like a patriotism. There was no real good reason. I had outgrown where I was living. I wasn't happy. The people around me that I saw were happy were not the type of people that I wanted to emulate. So I was like, in order for me to be happy, I would have to do that. That's not what I want to do, and I certainly don't want to do that here. So I found a place up in New Hampshire, made the move, and I remember on my last day I went to a grave of a friend of mine that passed away when he was 18. And I was in my early 20s at the time. And I just kind of reflected, because I was leaving, and I was like, I probably don't know when I'm going to get back here, and I don't know I'm going to be able to make my annual pilgrimage anymore. And I pretty much just was like, I'm out. Like, I made it out, which, you know, I wasn't thinking of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car at the time, but that's kind of the sign there. They're like, let's get out of here and make something out of ourselves. So when I hear that song, I don't think about that. I don't think of that I made a wrong decision. So that's not what's bringing me down. So I was thinking maybe it's what's bringing me down is emotionally I've been very successful now. I've healed, I've recovered, I feel up and in a good mood, and I'm not on medications. And most of my life is positive. If anything, the sadness in my life comes from seeing all the negativity in the world and how it's become harder and harder to get along with anybody, because so many people are negative, or just down, or just into sitting around watching TV and stuff. And so I don't have a group. I'm slowly starting to find one online, but it's still hard, because as a stranger going into a group, people are always apprehensive and like, why is this person so gun-ho? You know, us 90s kids, we show up at your house, you knock on your door. So when you are like, hey, let's go do something to somebody online, they're like, what? I didn't grow up like that. Just why are you so forward? So that's not it. I think maybe it brings me down because when I hear it as a perspective, they give like, oh, we'll move, we'll both get jobs, we'll work our way up. That's all I want is a simple life, and I can't even get that here because everything's so negative. I just want to run away. And like I said, it may have been about a lesbian couple running away, and the two of them not feeling like they were in the town they were in, like they could be who they were. So there might be even a deeper message to the song. Not that it matters, but it might not even been a small town. Tracy Chapman was a black woman, so maybe she was a black last I knew she was a black lesbian woman. So maybe she was living in an urban area where they didn't accept that stuff, and she wanted to get away from there. I don't know, but the song never really gets a conclusion. They're just daydreaming, living their kind of miserable life, wishing that they could go do that. And I did go do that. Oh, I'm going into a national forest. Sigreves National Forest in Arizona. This ain't no national forest. I'm from New Hampshire. I've seen a national forest or two. I mean, I guess it's green. The forests are weird here because it's so flat and it's so warm. So I did that, and I'm still not where I want to be. I'm working on not being so tough on myself, but my inner voice is pushing me further and further. I'm not on purpose. I'm not on my purpose. I'm making income now, and I figured out how to make money. So I'm making money with my online business and my investments. So that part of my life is going well, and I'm emotionally good, but I'm not spiritually. I'm spiritually good in the fact that I'm removing the fear, but I'm still not on purpose. That I don't have everything in alignment yet. That I'm in that zone where you wake up in excitement every day. And I've been there. When I was building the business that I'm now bored with, I was there. And so the project that I want to do with this podcast here is a never-ending story of help and a journey that I can do until I die. I can help people and leave a legacy behind, and that's really the purpose that I want to make. So back to the other individual. So I'm wondering if I'm melancholy because I haven't reached those goals, and I did escape, and now I feel like I owe it to everybody who's stuck behind to help them escape as well. But then I started wondering, why it resonated with so many people, and if misery just likes company. So it's a very miserable song. Like I said, there's not like we made it out of here. I'm in the fast car where our life is good now. It's daydreaming about getting it. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I should re-listen to it in fully. Like I said, I don't listen to it because it doesn't put me in a good mood. But I see people go wild, and it's number one in the hits. So are people just sitting around drunk and on weed or melancholy and feeling down? And then that makes them feel like, yeah, I'm stuck too. I wish I could get out of here. There's somebody else that's stuck, and they wish they could get out of here, and they also had a tough life. So at least I'm not alone. So that's the misery comes company. Or are people playing it out saying, okay, the song is about getting a plan, let me get a plan together? Because I don't see too many people making a plan or getting out. I don't know. So that's my jump off point. That's my setup here. And now I'm going to give my ideas philosophically on what we need to do as individuals to get into that proverbial fast car and get out of the situation we're in. So first of all, you got to figure out if you actually want out of the situation you're in, or if you need to fix the situation you're in. The example being, if you were married with children and the marriage is not what you expected, so many people are like, I've tried everything and they won't work with me. And it's like, well, first of all, you didn't try anything, but second of all, that's not negotiation, that's ultimatums. So if you're in a marriage or a relationship with somebody, the person that you're in that relationship with wants to be happy too. And if you want to be happy, like for the most part, you don't want to be miserable, your partner doesn't want to be miserable, your kids don't want to be miserable. So if you're saying, I keep telling them they got to do A, B, and C to make me happy so this marriage works, and they don't do it, and so the marriage isn't working, and it's like, well, that's not negotiation. The idea is you both want to be in this thing together and you want to be happy. So when you sit down, it has to, honestly and truly, you have to try to get to a place, and you don't have to do anything. I mean, my suggestion would be that if you want to be successful in your endeavors, whether it's a business relationship or personal relationship, is you have to be able to sit down in a non-emotional way when you're not high in emotions and have a discussion about what's going on and work towards each other's happiness and negotiate. But a lot of people think negotiation, like in the business sense, is where you kind of don't get what you want and I kind of don't get what I want, but we're like, instead of having you having a 10 and I having a 10, we're at 6, so that's the best we could do. And it's like, well, it's like you gave up on the negotiation too early. Because if you keep going and you keep talking and you keep getting to know each other, you should be able to work things out so you're both getting the happiness that you deserve. So if you're trying to plan a vacation and one person wants to go to A and one person wants to go to B, and then you don't want to go to B and they don't want to go to A, a lot of people say, okay, let's go to A and then we can go to B next. And if that would truly make you happy, then that's what you should do. But if you don't want to do either of those, then you have to say, look, B's not for me. Where's another place to you that's an A? And if like, nope, that's it, it's the only thing in the entire world that would ever make me happy, it's like, well, one, then that person doesn't have a grasp of true happiness. They're creating their happiness from external instead of internal places. So the destination should complement you two when you're both there if you're going to be happy. So how could there only be one place in the whole world that you go to that would make you happy, but while you're there your partner's miserable? If that's the case, then you need to then that person needs to realign where they're coming from with their happiness and excitement, and vice versa. So you got to keep going back to the negotiation table, and it might be frustrating, but it'll get easier and easier as you learn how to negotiate until you figure it out. And also, some people don't want to be negotiated with, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. Everything should be voluntary and consensual. But I mean, some people's happiness is not negotiating. Meaning, I dated women before when I was in my cooler. No, my insulin. I've dated women before in the past, and when I was getting caught up in the blue state stuff and getting away from who I was, I would have all these successful or somewhat successful relationships in my adolescence, and then as I get older, I started conceding instead of standing up for myself, and then I had a ton of trouble dating, and then I went just back to being who I was, and I started having success in the fact that I was meeting people, but things weren't going bad. But there's no negotiating, so I can't find anybody to negotiate with anymore. So I don't know. I'm assuming they all get snatched up, or just people have very poor negotiation skills nowadays. Not 100% sure. Phoenix, 170 miles. Never been to Phoenix. Maybe I'll go to Phoenix and rise from the ashes. Do I need gas? No, I got plenty of gas while I'm in town here. White Mountains solo. This isn't the White Mountains. I'll show you the White Mountains. You crazy lunatics here in Arizona. So, where was I? So when I date women and I take them out, and we go out to dinner, the women that are attracted to me the most and that I'm attracted to the most, I just say, hey, we're going to go here. I got something planned. We're going to go to dinner. When I was saying to them, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want for dinner? You want this? And they're like, I don't know. I'm not in the mood for this. And you're trying to negotiate with them. In that particular situation, the negotiation actually isn't helping the relationship. That's when you don't want to negotiate. You want to have bigger negotiations, being that, am I in charge of the mundane part of this relationship? Yes, I am. Okay, now I've won that negotiation. So now we don't need to negotiate for dinner. So if you're negotiating for dinner with your partner, you need to have bigger negotiations in agreements, and then people have to stick to those agreements. And then once you have that agreement, if you then say, hey, we had an agreement that I'm in charge of where we go to eat so that it doesn't take forever and we don't get into arguments, are you backing out of your agreement? And if so, we need to renegotiate what that part of this relationship is. And if they're like, oh, you're being controlling and what have you, it's like, okay, well, don't gaslight me. We had an agreement. So do you want to renegotiate? Because we can do that, but you don't have to shame me and say that I'm being controlling. And if things escalate emotionally, you have to stay calm and ask that person if they want to negotiate at a time that's better to them, where they're not so worked up or frustrated, or maybe they just need to be hugged, heard, whatever it is. So there's a scene in Big Bang Theory that I really like. And Sheldon, who has an eidetic memory, which is the ability to see and recall anything that he's seen or read. It's different than a photographic memory where you can just call up what you've seen. He can call up anything he's seen, anything he's read, anything he's heard. It's eidetic. And he's sitting at a table at a restaurant eating with another couple, and they're saying that they have a better relationship than him and his girlfriend. And his girlfriend says, Sheldon, I think, says, hey, can I have a bite of your food? And she says, sure. And then she's like, can I have a bite of your sandwich? And he says, no. And she just goes back to eating. No questions asked, no arguments, whatever. And then the guy, Leonard, the friend, is sitting there. He's like, oh, you think you have a better relationship to it, and you're mean, you won't even give her a bite of your sandwich. And then Sheldon says, well, Amy's allergic to avocado, and my sandwich has avocado on it. Am I to get Amy sick and have an allergic reaction in order to win some arbitrary dating relationship contest with you? And I just think this is such an amazing scene, because whether it was previously negotiated or just understood, Amy, Sheldon's girlfriend, has a high IQ, and Sheldon has an even higher IQ. And she asked the question, and Sheldon says no. And instead of her assuming that he doesn't have her, that he's being selfish or doesn't have her best interest in mind, she assumes that he does have his best interest in mind, and maybe they've negotiated in the past. He takes charge and doesn't allow her to have the sandwich, and she doesn't question it. She's submissive. And whether or not this was intended in the scene or not, this is how a good relationship can be. Now, an outsider can come and say, like that person, say they're being controlling. But in actuality, there's no need to make that particular decision there, because there's no need for the negotiation, because Sheldon can remember and knows everything, so he knows what's on the sandwich. He knows the whole panel of Amy, and so he knows that she can't have that. Similar to this, when you can negotiate in a relationship that your girlfriend then also gives you power to pick food, she's not saying that you're going to she's saying you won't make a selfish decision and only eat for you. You'll know that everything that I like and everything that you like, and you'll pick based on all the factors that you can think of empathetically for us. And then when she goes, she has to have a good experience and eat. And if you are given that power to pick the restaurant without negotiation, because it's from a bigger negotiation, and you mess up enough times, she might get upset. And at that point, if she is an adult with good communication skills, she should say, we need to renegotiate who picks the restaurants because I'm not enjoying the restaurants. And then what could happen is, okay, well, maybe I need more data from you. What aren't you liking about these restaurants? More communication. So now you remember that they say, well, I didn't like A, B, and C, and then you can add this now to your selection sheet when you pick this up, or just say, well, when I read online, it said that it had A, B, and C, and when we got there, it didn't have it. It had X, Y, and Z. So this one wasn't my fault. I wish it was better. I was really hoping that you could get this, this, and this because I know you like that. That might cure the small miscommunication. So let me just rewind my brain here and figure out how I got to this. Okay, so we're going back to relationships, back to correcting things, back to this. So before you leave a bad situation, make sure that there's not some sort of negotiation tactic like this in the situation that you can do on the local level or the communal level. However, back to you have a fast car. If you can negotiate, if you can't negotiate situations and you can leave and you need to leave, you need to now make a new plan moving forward so that you don't just bring your traumas with you. When I moved away from where I was for so many years, decades, and I went back to visit friends, I did realize that I would see a bar and it would make me think of like the fight that I had there, or a girl that I dated there that I broke up, or I'd see a woman's house that we had a bad relationship and it would make me think of her. Nothing huge. Or I would see like a friend that passed away's house or whatever, and I was like, oh, I guess this is what people call triggers, and there's a lot of stuff in this community that makes me think negative things, and now when I'm away from it, I'm not thinking those negative things. So if you can do the work and repair yourself and move away, and then when you create, now this is an actual forest with greenery and stuff, and this is, I guess, the White Mountains of Arizona, which I'm glad I'm driving through, and if I had planned, I wouldn't have driven through here. And now that I'm here, I might actually see some caribou. So this is really beautiful. I like this. It's still a little bit different the way that it's flat instead of New England. And I also feel like there's rattlesnakes and spiders that I don't want to deal with out here, where I only have to worry about bears. There's probably cats out here too. I don't like cats. Big cats, I mean. But anyways, so when you move to this new area, you have to have a plan of knowing thyself and a new setup and a new thing. So, because everywhere you go, there you are. You know, I'm sure you heard that. So if you're going to get a fast car and move somewhere and start over, don't make the same mistakes you did already. You know what I mean? You see these people that move every couple of years to get away from where they are, and they make the same mistake over and over and over again. So you need to, if you're a person that needs a plan, you need to write it down. Or if you're a person that, if it's visual, you need to make a vision board, or you need to talk to somebody, or whatever it takes for you to get yourself in a healthy place, so that when you start over, you're building a new foundation somewhere to build off of. And it's going to be difficult. So you're going to have to make new friends, get out of your comfort zone, try new things, new activities. Wow, this is a gorgeous part of Arizona. I'm on my way to the Grand Canyon, which is obviously beautiful, but this is the greenery that I like. There's a lot of evergreens and red rock. So this is similar to New Hampshire. I know a lot of people moved from New Hampshire out here, and they didn't know why, but you can bring your firearms and do the same thing in Arizona with a lot less people and a lot better weather. So this could be a lot of fun. So anyways, you've moved away, you've gotten your fast car. You try not to bring your problems with you and the friendships, and you have to build good, new, strong boundaries, good, new, strong friendships, and a new life for yourself with a new purpose. There's many ways to do that. I'm hoping that this channel will be one way. These videos that I make are a jump off point. So when you listen to something that I say here, it's not a recipe to follow exactly. It's more of a blueprint or a system where you plug in. It's a diet, it's an emotional diet where you're going to plug in the foods that work best for you. So you're going to have some information here that you can reflect on and say, yeah, when I listen to I Get a Fast Car, what do I feel like? Just that situation of checking in with yourself and waking up to your emotions and the chemical reactions and why you feel like that, reflecting on the rest of your life, reflecting on your friendships, then talking to those friends and seeing if you can negotiate with them positively, talking to family members, talking to selected family members, like people that you married into, not being so hard on your kids, and then teaching your kids the system, because they didn't choose to be brought into the family. You brought them in. So giving them these skill sets, if you didn't have them from a very early age for them to jump off of, and then learn the techniques. So I just walked you through how I did it for myself, and you would have to walk through. So for me, I did it verbally here live. You might sit down with a pen and paper. You could do a video and watch it. You could do a video diary for yourself that you don't have to share. You could record it. You could write it down. You can meditate on it. You could just lay there and think about it, and then just take, like you're giving yourself a lecture, but a good positive lecture. And then you just write a couple notes down that you reflect on a day-to-day basis. Some people stopped here. Is there animals? No, they're just being looky-loos for no reason. I guess there's a campground here. I don't see it though. So that's what I would do if I were you. I would listen to what I just said and see how it relates to you. And then when you experience new things in your life, you can do the same thing. Oh, I'm feeling a certain way right now. Reflect. Why? What's happened to me that would make this seem like this? Oh yeah, this, and this. Is that a bad feeling? Is it a good feeling? Is it a boundary? Is it a redirection? Is it something I need to change? Am I the one that's a harsh negotiator, where I want to win and I never want my partner to win? Am I being a bad partner? Am I being a bad parent, where I'm not negotiating with my children? I'm just using force, and I'm older than you, so I'm right, instead of teaching them the lesson and negotiating back and forth with them. These are all techniques and strategies that you can use to either physically get into that fast car that Tracy Chapman did, or metaphorically get into that fast car and change things around you. So that's about 33 minutes. I don't think there's much more I can say about that. But if you ever get a chance to come out here to Arizona, southern Arizona is not what I expected. I went to northern Arizona last time, and it was very, very, very beautiful. I mean, I should probably pull over and get you guys some video of this for the end of the next little rest area. I'll pull over and get some video and put it at the end of this. If you ever get a chance to come out here or explore, I would come out here. Not too many people to talk philosophy with. I haven't run into anybody, but just for the beauty, I would take, if you're not a solo person like me, I would take somebody with me to enjoy this with. But man, this is what they call God's country, my friend. This is definitely God's country. So, all right, take care. I hope that I helped you in some way today and added some value to your life philosophically.